Hello guys, and welcome to a brand new Elder Scrolls Online build video with me, Sherman. And today guys, you got your dream, and the votes came in. It was 75 to 19, and you guys get the Templar builds. Both of them are coming today. I will be releasing them within, well, within each other's time frames. But first, this is the first one, the Lord Knight. The Templar build of my own design that I have been playing on and off for literally 3 years now. One of the most powerful solo builds in the game for soloing content. It is a Wood Elf Templar, 16k magic, a 24k health, 30k stamina, with a 940 stamina recovery and an 893 magicka recovery. Weapon damage is coming in at 2547, but when this thing is fully buffed up, just so you guys can see for yourselves, I will have to use my full tools at my disposal here. So, buffed with pots, and with our thing here, we have a 3k weapon damage with 1090 stamina recovery, 1050 mag recovery, 20k spell resist, 19k physical, that is unbuffed. And buffed, we go to 28k spell resist with a 27k physical resist. This thing is a beast for soloing. Whew. We are running the Serpent Mundus Stone for the stam recovery on this build, guys, because we do not need the lady at all. We are running Tri-Stat food. That is the best food you can get for this. We do have Major Savagery up at all times because we do have Hunters, Expert Hunter on both bars, so we can keep that high 38% crit. I know it seems low, but trust me, this thing crits like a monster. Alright, so going on now to the gear. We are using Tri-Stat pots. That is the best pots you can use for this build, along with the Tri-Stat food. And the gear sets we are running Selene. Selene's is a beast of a monster set for dealing damage. This thing comes with a 1096 stamina, 2 pieces. When you deal direct damage, you have a 15% chance to call on a primal spirit that mauls the closest enemy in front of you after 1.3 seconds for 15,720 physical damage. This effect can occur once every 4 seconds. Single target, yeah, they don't stand a chance. Moving on to the other set we're running, we are running the Kvetch's Gladiator. We are not running Night Mother's Gaze. The reason for Kvetch's Gladiator is the 2 and 3 piece are crit, 4 pieces weapon damage, and when a target is under 25% health, you increase that damage by 1800 weapon damage on your light and heavy attacks. This thing pushes some serious damage out when you get them below a certain amount of health. People say you need an execute, not with this. Moving on. The other set we're running is Nightmare. Now this is an interesting one. A lot of people kind of gave me a confusing look when I was talking about this to them, and said why, and I said, well, it gives you physical resist, which gives you almost comparable physical and spell resist, as you can see here. And on top of that, we get another thing of extra health, another thing of weapon damage, and then when you deal damage, you have a 20% chance to apply Minor Maim to all enemies within 8 meters of you for 5 seconds, reducing their damage done for 15%, and it has no cooldown. This thing will be up a lot. So going over the traits and Mundus, or traits and enchantments, along with the type of gear, we are running a medium helm here, guys, with infused Tri-Stats on it. Really good. Chest piece is infused Tri-Stats. Legs is infused Tri-Stats, and then on the smaller pieces we are running heavy reinforced boots with heavy reinforced shoulders, Nirnhoned heavy gloves with a light belt. Nirnhoned. Smaller pieces do have max stamina on. Big pieces, you want those Tri-Stats on there to give you those extra stats. Moving on to the other set, we are running 2 healthy enchants on the jewelry rings and weapon damage on both of them with a infused necklace with magic recovery, because magic recovery is really important for this. Moving on to the weapon, we are using a 2-handed greatsword of the Nightmare infused with a physical damage enchant, so we get that little bit of extra resource return, which I need to charge up because I have been killing a lot of things with this build. And then on top of that, we are using a weapon damage enchant on the back bar. This will be up 100% if you can keeping certain skills up on the enemy. It will stay active all the time. So, now that you guys have seen the skill, or the gear, we need to move on to the skills. And first off, make sure you get all your class passives. It's really important. I do want to show you guys this. So we are using Blazing Shield, which does 36% of the damage absorbed back to the enemies, but we also have Burning Light, and look at that Burning Light. It's 4,481 physical damage to all enemies around you, but when you are buffed up, and it does grow based on your max weapon damage, we go up to 4,840, but again, total of 5,900 and something when totally maxed out with all of our stuff. This thing is crazy, because when this shield comes off, everything around you takes damage within a 5-meter radius. On top of that, it can proc Burning Light, and all those enemies can take extra damage. This is where a lot of our damage comes from. The other thing you have to know about the Templars, they do have Balanced Warrior. They get increased to weapon damage by 6%. No other class in the game gets 6% weapon damage added to their stuff. And you could say the DK gets 5% with the Minor Brutality, but nobody gets 6. So this really plays into the Templar really well, and is going to allow us for a lot of damage. On top of that, we also get some other cool things. We get to generate 3 ultimate every so often, and then of course our restoring side really helps with keeping us alive and stuff. You do want to take all 2-handed passives here, and the bow passives. Moving on to armor, you want to take the light armor, top 3, medium armor, top 2 on the bottom one, and then on the heavy armor, you want all the passives. Moving on to world skills, soul magic, you want both of those. It's very important. Fighters Guild, fighter skills. You want to take all the Fighters Guild passives. Mages Guild, you just need Persuasive Will. And Psijic Order, now this is one crushing weapon. We do want to take that, but the main reason why we're taking it is Spell Orbs. As you can see, they deal an additional 3,734 physical damage when you attack up to 5 times with this within 5 seconds. So as long as you get 5 attacks off, or sorry, 10 seconds, as long as you get 5 of those attacks off, you'll build up these orbs that deal an additional 3,734 damage. And again, just like with the other one, oops, weapon damage also improves that damage to that. So really, really good there. Moving on, we do get Concentrated Barrier with having this skill on our bar, which anytime we activate, we get 5,800 damage. And then on top of that, we also get, anytime we activate this ability, we will get Deliberation, which gives us 30% damage reduction. Moving on to Undaunted, we do want both Undaunted passives. Racial, you can be any race with this, but I have to say this, and I hate to say this because I know it's going to make a lot of people mad. The Wood Elf is literally the best for this because of their 21% stamina recovery. So, Resist Affliction, we get Max Stam. We also get Poison and Disease Resistance. We're immune to poison and disease status effects. This helps greatly while we're in dungeons, doing dolmens, while we're doing the Abyssal Geysers, all that. But any race does work for this. Alchemy, medicinal use, and then on Provisioning, Gourmand and Connoisseur. I almost play this same exact build on live, guys. Now, going over the skills. On the front bar, we do have Crushing Weapon. Infuse your weapon with power, crushing your, causing your next light attacks are used within 2 seconds to deal an additional 7,173 physical damage and healing you for 27% of the damage done. Resources are refunded if a light attack is not activated. So if you do not attack, it will refund you the stamina. Next up, we have Brawler. Brawler is here for damage and the damage shield. And this damage shield also, just like with everything else, grows based on weapon damage. The more weapon damage, the bigger the shield. This thing can get up to, I think it's like 6k just on one enemy. And then with multiple enemies, this thing can build a ungodly shield. So, lots of damage up front, lots of damage over time. And remember, this thing is an AoE cone in front of you. So any enemy hit in front of you will take that damage and that bleed. So really good there. Next up, Blazing Shield. This gives you a shield based on 34% of your max health for 6 seconds, and each nearby enemy increases the shield strength by 4% when the shield is activated. When the shield expired, it explodes, dealing 36% of the damage absorbed to nearby enemies. Next up, our heal, our main heal, Rally. This is an amazing heal. Also gives you Major Brutality, increasing weapon damage by 20% for 33 seconds. On top of that, this thing heals for 564% of 1,456, and that also grows based on weapon damage. So this thing's incredible. Next up, we have Evil Hunter. This is our Major Savagery. We need this on the bar to give us that boost to critical, because we need to do critical damage. And then next up, we do have Flawless Dawnbreaker, which does a lot of damage up front and over time. Plus, while slotted, your weapon damage is increased by another 5%, plus another 3% for having Evil Hunter there. So we actually get 6% more on top of that 5%. That makes it a total of 11% increase in weapon damage from this. With the 6%, we have a 17% increase in weapon damage just from being the class and these two things. That's without buffing from this. Moving on to the back bar, we do have Venom Arrow Hero. This is good damage up front, good damage over time, and then of course it can set an enemy, or enemy hit by this while casting is interrupted, set off balance, and stunned for 3 seconds. It's a great way to get those spellcasters off you from a distance. Next up, we have Endless Hail. This is just here for damage over time. And then our next ability is Power of the Light. Great ability because not only does it do damage up front, it stacks damage up to a maximum of 18,178. Also increases based on weapon damage. But it also applies Minor Fracture and Minor Breach, reducing the physical and spell resistance your enemies have by 1320 for 6 seconds. And this build is set up for it. Next up, we are using Channeled Focus. We have this here for the Major Ward, Major Resolve, but also for the magic recovery that it offers, because we are using a magic shield or casted shield that we are going to be casting quite a bit to get that higher burst of AoE damage. So it's really good. And standing within this rune increases physical and spell resistance, granted by 50%. So if you aren't in the circle and you cast it and you move outside of it, you still get 26 and 25. As soon as you go back in it, though, you go back up to that 27, 28. So high resistances all the time, guys. Evil Hunter here again for the Major Savagery, and last but not least, and you don't have to use this one, but you can use Ballista. It's a very, very, very good ability to use on the back bar because it does do a lot of damage and you can get it ranged with it. But if you don't want to use this, another good ability to use is go on the two-handed, get the two-handed pass one, and get Berserking Rage. This is a really good ability. As you can see, strike an enemy with a vicious blow, dealing 11,958 physical damage. The attack ignores the target's resistances and grants them to you. You are immune to all disabling effects, snares, immobilizes, and stuff for the duration. So it's a really powerful ability. You can use that, or you can use Onslaught, which is another really good one. And if you kill an enemy with this, you get all of your ultimate back and refunded to you. So you can use this on the front bar, put Dawnbreaker on the back bar. It's up to you. I prefer Dawnbreaker on the front bar because I like that extra damage. It's really good. Really powerful. Another good skill to use is the Aedric Spear ability. Empowering Sweep, I believe it is. Yes, it is. This one will also grant you major protection for 6 seconds, reducing the damage you take by 30%. It costs you 72 ultimate, and it does a lot of damage up front and a decent amount of damage over time. So either one, it's up to you. We'll go ahead and use this on the back bar for now, just so you guys can see for yourselves how powerful that is. And then, of course, moving on to the CP, starting with Red Tree, very similar to all my other stuff, guys. Ironclad 66 into it. This reduces the damage taken by direct damage by 22%. We did put 2 into spell shield here because we don't need extra physical resistance. We need to keep that spell resistance just a tad bit higher than our physical, so that's why that's there. And then moving on over here, we have 31 into thick skin, reducing damage taken from damage over time effects by 13%. And then up here, 56 into hardy. This reduces damage taken from physical poison and disease damage by 12%. And then 56 in an elemental defender, reducing flame, frost, shock, and magic damage by 12%. And just to point something out, whenever you activate your blazing shield, you will get spear wall, which now gives you minor protection for 3 seconds, reducing damage taken by 8%. Somebody tried to tell me that this does, your damage reduction does apply to your shields. I tested it, it does not. Not that I can see, because I'm still taking the same amount of damage on my shields. So it might reduce the damage your shield takes, or how long it takes to deplete your shield, but it's kind of hard to tell. So, but yes, with that 8% stacked on here, you actually get 20% here, and then you add this to it, and that goes up to 33% damage reduction from that, and then up here with this, that 8% on here, 20 plus 20, that's 42% damage reduction. It's ridiculous. But that's if the shield gets stripped fast enough. Next up, we have 40 points in the Bastion. This is to boost the effectiveness of our damage shields by 16%. 19 into quick recovery and increase our healing received by another 5%. And we are wearing heavy armor, so we get 8% healing received from that. Moving on to Warlord, we have 56 into Break Free. This reduces our Break Free cost by 20%. 23 into Sprinter, reducing sprint cost by 14%. 23 into Bashing Focus, reducing our bashing cost by 14%. 43 into Arcanus, this increases the magic recovery by 10%. Tenacity 43, this increases our stamina return from fully charged heavy attacks by 10%. It does do magic if you're using magical weapon, we're only using stamina, so. Moving on, 56 into Tumbling, reducing dodge roll by 20%, and then 26 into Shadow Ward, reducing block cost by 11%. We are using heavy armor, so. Moving on, 43 into Bless, increasing your healing done by 10%. Moving on over here, we have 15 into Physical Weapon Expert. This increases our light and heavy attacks. It should be 16. Let me go ahead and do this. It's fine. I can take one out of here. We're going to go ahead and take that up to 16. So we get 10%. You want that 10% light and heavy attack damage on your weapons. So Mastered Arms, 40 points, increasing our direct damage done with direct damage attacks by 16%. Really good. Moving on over here, 43 into Mighty, increasing physical poison disease damage done by 10%, and then 40 into Thaumaturge, increasing that your damage done with damage over time effects by 16%, and then on top of that, we have Precise Strikes 40, which increases your critical damage done with critical healing done by stamina abilities by 16%, and 48 into Piercing, giving us increased physical penetration all the time for 3,852. When you put the Power of the Light on there, we actually go up to 5,000 pounds. So this is really important to know, though. We do get 16% here, but as a Templar, in the Aedric Spear abilities, we do get Piercing Spear, which gives us increased critical damage by 10%, and increases your damage done to blocking targets by 10%. So we do get a lot of damage here for that. So we actually get really high critical damage. And that, my friends, is the Lord, it is this build, the Lord Knight build. And I'm pretty sure you guys want to see this. Everyone does, so we'll go ahead and get started. You want to drop that Power of the Light on your enemies right away. Oops. Okay, out. Oops, I threw away my ultimate. Did you see that? That was bad. Bad play, Sherman. Bad play. Now we're going to go ahead and start using our shield because we want that extra damage coming off of us. And as I said, this shield is going to last a while. So oops, wrong button. Oops, well, I keep hitting the wrong button here. Oh well. And I died. But that's okay, I wanted to die anyways, so you guys just could see how powerful this build can really be. It is actually quite powerful. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but when it comes to survivability, nothing outdoes this build. This thing is pretty much lives forever if you know how to play it right. And apparently I didn't show that I could. But to show you guys this real quick, as you guys can see, 3,600 weapon damage was our max most of the time, but that's because we were on the bow bar, switching between bow and front bar. We did have a 5,172 pin, up quite a bit, otherwise it was 3,928. As you can see here though, our blazing shield was hitting for 3,130, and then, if I can find it, our burning light was hitting upwards to 8k damage on that, so that was really good. Celine's was hitting like a bus, and it went off a lot more than 7 times in that encounter. So, but yeah, overall this is a really good setup. It's a really good play style, really fun to play, and it's super easy to play. This is probably by far the easiest of the solo builds I released, giving you really good resource management, survivability, and damage all in the same boat, and it works out really well. The other thing I wanted to show over here is the one nice thing is minor maim. If you can keep this up on a single target or on multiple targets, most of the time that minor maim helps reduce the damage your shields take, so they last longer, so they absorb more damage, and then when they explode they deal more damage outwards. So that's why we use that setup. But that, my friends, is the Lord Knight, one of my most powerful builds I have for solo play. And when I say powerful, I don't mean powerful damage wise, I mean powerful survivability wise. This thing is super hard to kill. If you are paying attention and you make a mistake like I did just there where I let myself die, you can do it where you won't die, and you can actually keep this build going 100% without any hassles on just about everything, because you have so much healing factor on this build. So, but that's pretty much it for this build, guys. So if you like it, you know what to do. Hit that like button. If you guys want to see more builds by me, you can hit that subscribe button. I got one more build coming out. It is another Templar, guys. Keep an eye out for it. It'll be here soon. But if you guys want to see more builds and that one, hit that subscribe button. Other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day, and this guy might see you in game. Bye.